given the rising interest in quantum computing stocks and Rigetti stock specifically, I wanted to make a video highlighting some of the things that quantum computing stock investors need to know about Rigetti stock. The company held a conference call with Wall Street analysts on January 14th, 2025, and revealed a lot of important factors about the business. I'm going to share those with you in this video, so let's get into it.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so Rigetti's management team said that we call ourselves a full stack quantum computing company. That means we do everything from designing the chip to building the chip. Their fabrication facilities in Fremont, California, and all the layers of the stack, the control systems, the dilution, refrigeration, firmware, software, etc. And this is a unique decision about the business model. If you compare this with some of the semiconductor companies, there are some semiconductor companies that do design only, and there are some semiconductor companies that do manufacturing only. And there are others like Intel that do both semiconductor design and semiconductor manufacturing. Now you might ask, well, why would a company not do it all? Doesn't that give them an advantage to do it all? And the reason is because of difficulty. Sure, you might have some advantages if you do it all under one company, but it also is more difficult. It requires more capital, especially the manufacturing part. If you only do design and you outsource manufacturing, you focus on the area that delivers the most value in terms of dollars spent on research and development, and you can generate higher returns on invested capital. Whereas if you do the manufacturing side, it requires a lot more capital, and that capital needs to continuously be reinvested in the business. And so your return on invested capital, the potential, is not as high as if you do design only. So those are some of the give and takes why companies might do design only, or why some companies do both design and manufacturing. And this is in broader industries, right? More developed industries. When we're talking about quantum computing, this industry is so new that the ecosystem is not built yet. So Rigetti probably doesn't even have the option to outsource for the manufacturing right now. So this wasn't a choice between should we be a design only company or should we do design and manufacturing. This was a mandatory thing they had to do, most likely. As the industry develops, you may see various different business models where some companies might say we're only going to do manufacturing of quantum computing chips. Some might say we're going to do both. Some might do design only. And that might come, I don't know, maybe 5, 10, 15 years later. It's still very early stages of this industry. So Rigetti also said that they can do everything internally, but also if a company like NVIDIA comes up with a CUDA-Q quantum version of CUDA, they could easily integrate that into their own stack. Whereas if you do it in a mainframe approach, that's difficult. And it's the same with error correction companies like Riverlane and others. So this is Rigetti talking about what makes Rigetti unique to some of its competitors that take on a different approach, that take on a mainframe approach, whereas Rigetti takes a more open-end modular approach to building their technology. They are developing and making quantum computers right now. Customers are using them, so these are real things, but these are all for research purposes. They're clearly still in the R&D mode right now. The big difference is that research purposes or research customers, they're not buying this technology based on the value it's going to add to the enterprise. They're not buying this technology because it's going to help the business make more money or it's going to help the business reduce cost. They're just buying it for research purposes. And so this is a much smaller market in the early stages. Eventually, companies like Rigetti hope they develop commercial applications for this technology, which will drive demand from enterprises. right? If they can demonstrate that they can help a company lower cost or increase computing power, develop new capabilities because of its technology, then businesses will start buying Rigetti's products and services. And that's when the company and that's when the industry will mature into a full grown industry. Right now, for Rigetti especially, it's just research and development, still very early stages and not yet a full blown company yet. And that's why management talks about and says this a lot, that sales are not that important. And I've been saying that too, is that one new contract or a sale here and there, it's not going to make a big difference for Rigetti, at least in terms of the number of sales. But where I do think it helps them when they make a sale or when they get an order is the feedback they get from their customers. When they send out the product and the customer does the research and development, they may communicate and the customer might say, well, this is working really good, but this is not working good. Can you do this perhaps in your next iteration? Can you try to do that? What about this or that, right? The conversations between themselves and their customers could unlock some breakthrough that helps Rigetti reach that next milestone. That's where I think sales are important for Rigetti, not in the numbers, because the numbers are so small right now compared to what they hope to be that it's not going to make a difference. It doesn't even make much of a dent into the company's budget because they're spending so much money on research and development. The sales number, comparatively speaking, is such a small percentage, it's not a big deal. So they go on to say that you have IBM, Google, Amazon, and the government of China and a few other companies investing in the superconducting modality. The big advantage of that is that it's scalability and gate speed. That's what they're dealing with. And once you have the fundamental architecture defined and the transistors, in our case, the qubits working well, you can scale up relatively easily using the same things that you've learned in the semiconductor industry with lithography, deposition, etching, and all the standard stuff they've been doing in the last 50 years in the semiconductor industry. So Rigetti's taking that approach because of these advantages and then highlighting that IBM, Google, Amazon, and the government of China are also using that approach to kind of get investor agreement that their approach is the better approach to take. And it's important to get investor agreement because Rigetti Computing is going to need a lot of money from investors to get themselves to bridge the gap between now and when their product sales are high enough to become a self-sustaining business, which is not going to be, and even according to Rigetti, probably not in the next 5 years, right? That's it. There's almost a 0% chance that they will be self-sustaining in terms generating enough cash flow to offset their expenditure. It's probably not going to be anywhere in the next 5 years. So they need investor support. They need investor capital to fund their research and development to get themselves to bridge that gap. Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce that my book is finally available for sale. I've been working on it for more than a year now, so I'm really excited to finally share this with you now. It goes through my framework for evaluating stocks. Some of you often ask why I like this stock or why I like the other stock, and this framework provides you the things that I look at when I'm evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.